Okay, folks.
Buzz, you talked yesterday about the beauty of this Kentucky offense once you started studying it, and how tough it was to stop. What kind of let you guys stop it for the first, basically the whole first half, and then how tough is it to stop for 40 minutes?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed studying it. I know that sounds condescending. I mean it in the most respectful way. Really good players, a lot of variety to the skill, as you know. But I think the utilization of the talent and the skill, considering the newness of the coach and his staff and the players, that's really difficult to do. And so I have not seen any of their practices or their film sessions, but the teaching that's going on and the itinerary of the practices, for them to have the execution that they have, remarkable. The third best offense in the country that puts stress on you in transition, it puts stress on you immediately following transition, and then as soon as it goes to 22 or 10 and they begin to run coach's offense, that's a different type of stress. So there's three versions of stress, and they're potent in each category.
Coach, obviously a big game for Jackson Robinson, here in the back. Big game for Jackson Robinson. He seemed a little extra spirited today from covering him this season. What did you kind of make of his play, first time seeing him in a Kentucky uniform?
Yeah, I don't know how to compare other than the games that I've watched. I've always thought he has a great spirit. I guess we've known him since he was a sophomore in high school. Incredible mom, incredible dad. Great story on what his career has unfolded to be. But one of the best players in his class. I know he reclassed, but it's hard for me to compare his spirit. I think he's excited. They're good enough to win the national championship. And so I wouldn't say that 2 was more excited than 1 or 22 or 10 or 2 or 4. Like, I think they play with great spirit. I think their coach has a phenomenal spirit. I think how he leads is the appropriate way in 2025. And you can tell how they compete. You can tell how they play. You can tell watching their huddles. You can tell how they're in and out of substitutions. That spirit, I know it's not a stat, and I know Jack's played great, but I think the spirit is probably just as important as the stats, just from listening to coach and learning from coach. I think those things are correlated.
Well, you guys obviously are an elite rebounding team, but they were able to out-rebound you all by 10. They've struggled with that, honestly, at times earlier this season. Were they more physical than they showed on tape, and what kind of stood out to you there?
Well, I think you probably have to judge how they rebound a little differently than we do. I haven't got one yet, but I think that long shots are long rebounds. They attempt a high percentage of long shots, but then incorporated in that, I think they play with semi-fast pace. 43% of their possessions are occurring in transition. That's not Alabama fast, but that's not for sure Texas A&M pace. And so if you're playing fast and you're shooting a high volume of threes and your offense is 5 out, I think you probably handle rebounding differently than we do. We just try real hard. Personally, I think what they do is a lot of the European things. I think 0 is a go-get as far as what we would say. 10 is a go-get. 22 is a go-get. 7 is a go-get. Other than that, those numbers on those shots, they're buying the real estate between them and the opposing defender. And there's a lot of nail hole rebounds. And I do think they play with physicality relative to that concept. But I think that concept, and again, I'm not speaking for coach, nor am I trying to coach his team, I'm just talking about what I've studied. I think that concept probably fits from a rebounding standpoint relative to what they're doing prior to the rise of the shot.
Coach, when it comes to coming into an environment like this in the SEC, can you talk about some of the calls, like the technicals early, and how you kind of have to tamp that down and keep composure in a place like this?
It's an invisible margin, and every possession, every call, every non-call, every head coach reaction, every bench reaction, every free throw blockout or lack thereof, foul, whatever the words are. I think that's the thin line regardless of team. Not to make light of this, I mean, this is the best job in college basketball and the arena and all that comes with it. I think everybody would agree with that. So I don't necessarily think it's the ambiance. Maybe that inflames the situation at times. Not talking negative about the officials, I don't want to be fined, but I just think that the margin of those possessions that you're talking about, it's invisible. And I also think you're talking about arguably the best league in the country, and the depth of the talent on each league. You're talking about guys that are going to make multi-millions of dollars playing not in college. And so there's going to be emotions. And I think you have to play with great emotion in order for it to be a game. You just can't be emotional.
Anyone else?
Can you comment on Amari Williams and the job he did on the glass for them tonight?
Give me just a second. I don't know their names, I just know their numbers. Oh, I love him. 22?
You're kind of boy,
Well, I don't know him, but 29% usage rate as a left-hander at that size, you can Google it probably. There's not one. Not that's playing in college. And his assist rate is higher than anybody on the team other than one. But one is getting his assist primarily, in my opinion, in the first 12 seconds of the clock. But as soon as one's giving it up to 22, especially when they're initiating offense and he's going left, he's the point. He's the tallest point guard I've seen in a long time. But when he gives it up, the physicality that he plays with in the charge circle, that's a difficult matchup. And how are you going to play that offense when it's on the ground? And then your decision on that is why Coach Pope is going to then counter with throwing it into 22. And if you don't do that with 22, he's going to do it with 7. And yeah, I enjoyed watching all of it, but he is a unique talent in regards to his skill set.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.